I can't tell if due to isolation we're getting better or worse at going off the fucking rails during these things now.
So in person was definitely better so far, but I think it's just getting better at this.
I can't read any of you guys to go off at any comments.
I'll just give you like a general feeling for me right now so you guys can read it. I feel like a sassy bitch right now. So you guys can just feed on that.
Welcome back to I'll See Myself Out. My name is Dan Lisho.
I'm Ryan Patel.
I'm Terry.
I'm Norm Reynolds.
Consider these your only warnings.
There will be foul language.
There will be spoilers.
And there will be monotone foul language.
I feel like when we're all in the same room together, there's people that watch our episodes, they can feel us trying to not strangle each other. But when we're like this, it's just they can kind of sense that we're trying not to turn off the phone.
This week we're talking about The Cable Guy starring Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick. Steven!
So I watched the movie last night, and I haven't seen this movie probably since it came out. And boy, did I not know what I was getting myself into.
It's kind of a shock, isn't it?
Oh, it's crazy. And I got it, like, we'll talk about it more, obviously, but like I started it last night, I think like 1 a.m. I wanted to go to bed, but like I couldn't stop myself. I really love this movie, and I think this might be one of Jim Carrey's best movies, as at least as a comedy. Yeah, I have like the vaguest memories of this movie being like so bizarre, like it was almost unenjoyable. And I think that makes a lot of sense, like as a kid being like, what the fuck am I watching? Like so much of like the nuanced, like the psychopathic nature of so many scenes of this movie just went way over my head as a kid. I haven't seen this since like, it's probably like the year it was released on VHS.
This movie came out, my parents saw it and I didn't remember, and I've had this like carrying with me my whole life where mom said it was like an awful movie, she hated it, and ever put together, like even in my adult life, that mom's sense of humor just isn't quite where mine is. When I went to sit down to watch it, like I really didn't think that I was in for that good of a time. Loved it so much. I was just laughing almost nonstop.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of almost felt like watching this movie. I didn't even realize Matt Broderick was in this movie. So the fact that he was against a character like the one Jim Carrey was playing was like so black and white as far as characters could be considered. It made him seem that much more insane. I don't know if you guys felt the same way.
The first part of the movie that I ended up laughing at was when he's looking for the spot to drill the hole for the cable, and it's like this whole sexual dance that he's doing with the wall, and Matthew Broderick is really uncomfortable, and he just kind of like closes his robe a little bit.
Jim Carrey is the wild, loose cannon of comedians, where Matthew Broderick is a very subtle, flat-faced comic. Matthew Broderick was what made me laugh the most.
There's a lot of his physical reactions to what Jim Carrey was doing that were making me laugh as well.
Well, would you not be a little bit strucken if somebody comes in to do your cable and it starts feeling on the wall going, oh yeah, that's the way you like it, oh yeah.
You know, funny story about having people come to your house and overstepping their bounds? That happened to me, and it was the cable guy.
Like I had a window, when I was getting my windows installed when I was in school, the installer came in afterwards to drop anchor in the bathroom, and was in there for an hour. That's the weirdest thing that's happened to me.
And if anybody there at home who's playing along, something like this happened to you, please put that in the comments. We'd love to hear about it.
Do you guys think, like, at least my interpretation, I feel like Jim Carrey improvised in a lot of scenes, like just ad-libbed.
Oh, for sure.
In so many scenes in this movie. And I feel like so many scenes out of this movie were just Matthew Broderick just like trying to keep his shit together. How do you deal with Jim Carrey in his prime losing his shit on camera in front of you?
You guys see how hard Owen Wilson was trying to keep his shit together when he was getting his ass kicked in the bathroom?
That's one of the things I was thinking as well.
He had like a shit-eating grin on his face. His face getting like sloshed across the mirror.
I couldn't decide if he was just being a bad actor or if he was just trying to hold it together.
I feel like the disguise that he has in that scene makes this movie a prequel to Sonic the Hedgehog.
So apparently on this one, Judd Apatow was a co-writer on it, and the scene where the Midnight Express where he puts his chest against the window while Matthew Broderick's in jail it was a napkin kind of writing where they went down to South Carolina when he was working on Ace Ventura 2. Jim Carrey writing on a napkin, tits on a mirror, tits on a window or something like that. Like, this has to be done.
And that's clearly the best line of the movie. Oh, Billy.
And the way that the inmate next to him looks over at him, oh my God. I think the scene in the movie that set me off to like just how insane this movie was gonna go off the rails, it's the medieval times scene was for me when I knew that like the movie like flipped a switch. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but like this movie got so much better.
That was one of my favorite scenes of the entire movie is as the medieval times where they just go fucking at each other.
I loved the wench. Can I have a fork and knife, please? As in medieval times, they didn't have utensils, so here at medieval times, we don't have utensils. Would you like a refill on your Pepsi? So they didn't have utensils, but they had Pepsi. Dude, I've got other tables.
Yeah, she's the spirit of like every server ever who's ever wanted to like not be at work.
One of my favorite lines from this movie was also at Medieval Times, and it made me think of Terry, is when he's putting the chicken skins on his face.
When we were watching that tonight, Becca looked over and was like, did he just take his chicken skin? That is sacrilegious. That is a crime. That is a felony.
What I was surprised about as well was like how much this movie kept on getting somehow like more and more intensely weird, and how his character somehow managed to like out creep the previous level of what his character was doing.
I think the line that set me up for how this was like, okay, this is gonna be a roller coaster, is pretty much when he first gets there and says, oh, the old McNair place. You know, it's amazing what they got out of the carpets or something like that. They got the floors clean, and like, oh, what happened? Oh, lots of cats.
I think the karaoke was the apex for me, especially when he takes a breath and he does the throat thing. I think that's where like the movie for me was like, that was the height. It was one of the lines where he's giving Matt Broderick's character's advice, how to get his girlfriend back or how to like get his girlfriend interested again. Free cable is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Like, it's so fucking ridiculous. Plot was like way more sophisticated for a movie that in most respects would just seem like total insanity from just like a scripted point of view. But even like with the Polaroid pictures he takes coming back as part of the plot, and like the sound system kind of coming back into play as part of like this web he's spinning, this web of friendship he's trying to pen him into. It's like this movie's just like as a character, he plays such a good role.
He's a genius too. That's the other part. In order to have that many balls in the air and to have that many dominoes set up to fall in just the right order to like either be his best friend or fuck him over, like that takes genius.
Like the sexy password scene is insane too. As a character, how manipulative he is. Like, I don't know if you guys felt that, but like I could feel Matthew Broderick's like uncomfortable feeling like in that scene when he's like trying to back out and he's like I don't want to do this. And I'm pretty sure he says he doesn't want to do it like 3 or 4 separate times during that scene too. And it looks legit.
The part I loved about that is how he becomes more and more agitated with his mother.
The only thing that actually bothered me about this movie though was at the end where he does a swan dive, like he gets like dropped, he's being held for a long time and then falls, and he doesn't get impaled by that antenna. And like honestly, I'm like, I understand why they didn't, but at the same time I'm like, it would have been more of a fitting end for that character to be completely impaled by the antenna of that satellite dish.
Actually, I thought the opposite. I thought that because he didn't get impaled, it was more of a fitting continuation of his character with his relentlessness.
Yeah, and because of how genius he is, you could even assume that falling in that spot was planned.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one 10 out of the 10 cats that probably lived in that apartment.
I'm gonna rate it 9 out of 10 sexy password games with my friend's family.
I give this 11 sweet spots out of 12 Harrelsons.
I give it 10 out of a possible 10 throat trills.
Oh man, that's gotta be, that scene was so crazy. And I loved how like, what did he call them all? He's like, these are my friends. These are all preferred customers. Join us next week with Glenn Powell from Glenn and Friends Cooking, where we're gonna watch The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. We're gonna talk about our favorite scenes, our favorite quotes, and just talk about the movie. And I'm super excited about this because this movie is pretty much my top favorite movie, or one of my top like 3 favorite movies.
So we want to thank Brock Street Espresso, who would normally be letting us stay at their cafe to film all of these episodes, but you know, shit hit the fan. So we're still going to be throwing it in because we know they would be letting us if that were possible. So thank you, Brock Street Espresso.
We'd also like to thank Man Antler, who would normally give us double triple tasty beer, but this time I just used my own supply.
If you liked what you saw here today, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to see more content from us, hit the bell to be notified when we put that content out, and if we missed anything, if there's anything you'd like to see from us, drop it in the comments.
And tell us about your weird experience with your cable guy. This guy came over to the house. I am not going to disclose the name of the company that he works for, but he came to the house, said, yeah, I'm here to set up the cable. I'm like, cool. And as he came in to start setting everything up, he was just kind of looking around, and he saw that I had a drum and a guitar, and he's like, are you a musician? I said, yes. And he goes, so you're into that green stuff? I'm like, yeah, on occasion, sure, we're in Canada, why not? He goes, cool, you want some? I'm like, all right, sure. And then he goes out to the van for like a couple minutes, and he comes back and just like opens up this little kit that he has just with all of his marijuana paraphernalia, and he rolls us a joint. And we split it there right in the living room, and then he continued putting the internet in, and then he was on his way. He didn't give me a card and like say, hey, do you want to go see the satellite dish or anything at the end of it? But I was pretty messed up for the rest of the day.
Would you not have gone with him?
Probably not. No, I don't think so.